What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I rarely, if ever, talk about, and that's guys. Um, I wanted to mention some things that have kind of come up recently in my interactions with other guys, and then also I've known about this for a while. I don't talk about it much, if ever, but kind of how that relates to the red pill, how it relates to men's health in general, men's happiness in society, etc. Um, Kind of revolving around like competition with guys and guys being in competition with other guys and things like that. Kind of revolving around that. You'll have to excuse me if I sneeze or if I sniff a lot. I've got allergies right now. I got some allergy homeopathic medication coming on the way. Um, I'm really into nutrition. I don't talk about that much a lot either, but I take a lot of supplements. And if you look into homeopathy, it's a really good uh, subject that helps with different ailments. I'm all for men's health. I'm all for helping men out as far as improve their personal health, their physical health, their emotional, mental, spiritual health. I care about people. I care about men specifically as well because men are often a marginalized class of people, um, attacked, demonized, beat down by our Western gynocentric feminist society, um, which really is really out to get men and out to kind of harm in any way they can male masculinity, which, by the way, there's nothing toxic about masculinity. In and of itself, that's not to say there's not such a thing as toxic men. That's not to say there's not such a thing as men who are just toxic in one way or another, whether it's subtle or overt. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, which is male competition with other men. And a lot of it has to do with immaturity. A lot of it has to do with uh, sort of a stunted development in, humbleness, a stunted development in love. There's nothing weak about loving human beings. There's nothing weak about caring about your fellow human beings. There's nothing weak about that. You don't, as a man, it's not your job, and I think there's a lot of guys out there who think this. It's not your job to compete with other men. You're not in competition with other men. If anything, you're only in competition with yourself and probably your environment. That's about it. And people might argue and say, oh, well, men are in my environment and they're trying to get the same resources that I'm trying to get. No, there's enough resources to go around. The problem is not a scarcity of resources, but a scarcity of an abundant mindset. That's what there is. There's not a scarcity of available women. There's not a scarcity of available financial resources. There's not a scarcity of you know opportunities per se. Now, that isn't to say that we don't live in a competitive job market. That isn't to say that there's not problems with housing costs, uh, rising inflation with, food and products. Those are problems, with the government. They're not problems between you and your fellow man, okay? So a lot of times what guys do is they mistake something that's a macro problem and they turn it into a micro problem. Like, okay, well, there's a problem with the government, but I'm gonna fight my fellow man instead of voting, or instead of trying to change some legislation, or instead of trying to, get together with unions, or figure out a better way to make more money, or increase the wage payout, right? So a lot of times there's misplaced ambition, misplaced, um, you know, competition. I mean, that's what ambition is it's competition. If people view you as a threat, first of all, if you're wise and you are aware of yourself, you're aware of human nature, you're aware of kind of how people operate, of how people think, you're able to decipher when somebody is subtly trying to undermine you or subtly trying to, you know, beat you out or feel like they're better than you. And earlier I said it was immaturity. A lot of it also is lack of self-esteem. Men who are in competition with constantly in competition with other men, a lot of it is a lack of self-esteem. And it's easy to fall into that trap because you go through sufferings or you go through hardships, you go through periods of lack where you're not you're seemingly not gaining any progress. You feel like you're just spinning your wheels in life, right? You're not getting anywhere. It's easy to look around and be like, oh, I'm better than this guy, or oh, if I only had the opportunity that this guy had. And there's an old saying that's comparison is the comparison is the thief of joy. Stop comparing yourself to rich people. Stop comparing yourself to people who are more talented than you. And you can fall into that trap of just being like, oh man, I wish I had more talent. I wish I could jump like Michael Jordan. I wish I could run like Usain Bolt. I wish I, was better looking like Brad Pitt, or I wish I had money like Elon Musk, or whatever. Comparison is the thief of joy. You have to learn how to be happy and content with what you have and where you're at. If you're not good at something on a grand scale, try to be good at something on a small scale. And as corny as it sounds, as laughable as Jordan Peterson can be, I do agree that you could start by cleaning your house. You could start by cleaning your carpet or making sure that all your clothes are folded. Everything there's nothing on the ground, because peace of mind starts in your home. Peace of mind starts in your outlook on where you're at, in your actual living abode. Try to make sure your living abode is comfortable and nice. And a lot of people overlook that and they don't think about that. It's like, buy a better couch, or buy or invest in paintings or furnishings that make you feel comfortable and nice about yourself. That they make you happy from the start, right? You wake up and you're that's why they call it a living room, right? You wake up and you're at your home. Make your home nice, and then you can start having a better outlook. But there's a lot of competition that is out there, and a lot of it is from low self-esteem. A lot of it is from just misplaced ambition, and a lot of it is just people don't have a lot of love. They lack love, and they lack the maturity to be like, hey, you know what, I'm a human being, and I should love other human beings. I love this person, I love that person. A lot of it is just disrespect. A lot of it is people don't have God in their heart. They don't have God in their life. They don't have love in their heart. They don't have love in their life. So I say start at home. Start at making your life better. If you disdain, a lot of it comes from secretly hating themselves, secretly disdaining their own life, wishing they had this better and that better, and not being content with what they have. As I said before, that's why I said, try to learn how to make yourself content from your home base, right? And then work your way out. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't have a proper outlook on how to treat other people, how to look at human beings, a proper outlook, how to navigate life. If you have a competition mindset, that means you are looking at life kind of in an incorrect lens. You're looking at life as if it's some kind of game to be won. Life is not necessarily a game to be won. It's more like life is a thing to be enjoyed and lived. And if you realize that from a human perspective, you're able to be like, yeah, I should live and let live. I should allow myself to be happy, and then I want others to be happy. But if you're in a competition mindset, that means you have a game mentality. You view life as if it's a game to be won, and then what happens is you want to be better than others, or you're comparing yourself to people who are better than you, and then you're talking down about other people, or you're looking for reasons why you think people are not as good as you, or you have low self-esteem, and so you're constantly trying to cut others down so that you can feel better about yourself, which is a really crappy thing that people get caught up in. So I say this from guys, and I know women do it too, but I say it from a guy's perspective because at least this video is talking about a guy's perspective. Women are in competition with each other to be the most beautiful, or to have the best resources through a man, right? So we know that women are out here trying to vicariously gain a lifestyle that they want, or vicariously live through a man, through his successes, through his achievements, which is messed up. And we all know that that's hypergamy. You know, if you're in the red pill, you should know that that's hypergamy. You should know that that's manipulation, and you should be wary of that. You should be watchful of that, which is why I always advise guys, don't improve yourself to get a woman, because she's just using your achievements for herself. She's just jujitsuing your accomplishments and attainments and accolades to make her to build up her own ego, which is just folly. That's foolish. You wouldn't want to go and win. You know, it's the old hate to use this guy's name. I'm not going to use his name. I was going to say Kobe Bryant. All right, I said his name, but you know, I always used him as an example because, you know, back when he cheated on his wife, he bought her a diamond ring and she didn't leave him or something. I think that happened like 2009. It was like a good 10 years before his death. People forget about that, but there was rumors of him cheating and his wife was going to leave him, and he bought her like a $10 million ring. You can Google it. But I always use Kobe as an example because I always respected his work ethic. Now, maybe I didn't respect his personal life or his choice in women or how he got his women. That's a different story. That's a red pill story. But I always respected his work ethic, which was impeccable. He had wonderful work. Now, obviously, he had great talent. You can't get to the NBA if you don't have just ingrained, amazing, God-gifted talent. But he was also a hard worker, and so was Michael Jordan. And Kobe Bryant took Michael Jordan's work ethic and he applied it, and Michael Jordan's discipline, and Michael Jordan's you know, just absolute consecration to the game to be the best. Kobe Bryant adopted that, and then he became a 3-time champion, or I think a 2-time champion without Shaq. So I think Kobe Bryant has 5 rings, 3 of them with Shaq, and then 2 on his own, which is amazing because I respect those 2 on his own, because Shaq is kind of an unfair advantage, right? If you know anything about basketball, you know what I'm talking about. So Kobe was a hard worker, but you look at his wife, Vanessa. She didn't do anything. All she did was be pretty. I never felt that she was amazing. I never felt that she had talent on par to his. I never felt that she was this wonderful person who is not only was she beautiful, she was also just an amazing person. I never felt any of that. I just felt like she was just a trophy wife. Many of these guys, they just have trophy wives, wives who don't do anything. There's no talent, there's no amazingness about them. They're just pretty, and they have a decent enough personality where the guy can settle down with them and she can be his piece. They're amiable enough to settle down. That's it. So I always use Kobe Bryant as an analogy in the sense that he's a hard worker, and everything he achieved, he achieved on his own. He didn't achieve it because of Vanessa. He didn't achieve it because she was so supportive. She was in the gym with him shooting free throws. No. No, 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 no. He achieved all that on his own, and she just inherited it. She lived vicariously through his achievements. So, when women are in competition with each other, it's to get the guy's resources. It's a different type of competition. When men are in competition with each other, it's to get the resources. It's to get the thing, to get the girl. The girl is in competition with other girls to get the guy, to get the things. It's really this weird hodgepodge messed up kind of thing. So I use Kobe Bryant as an example because he's the perfect example. It's like it's the perfect red pill scenario. He worked crazy hard, got all the accolades, got all the achievements, and he got the girl. And what did she do? Nothing. She was just pretty. She just showed up. She just walked her way to the finish line and said, "Here I am, boys, come get me." And Kobe Bryant was the guy who got her. And so this is the exact perfect example of what females do. So we got to talk about guys. So we're not talking about females. We got to talk about the guys. Why are guys in competition with each other? As I said earlier, it is lack of self-esteem, a lack of abundance mindset, a lack of humanity, a lack of love for other men, a lack of, humbleness, kindness, fairness. Because if you're really a quality character, and if you're really a guy who's like, yeah, I have respect, I want to play fair, then you want others to win. You want others to have their best shot at winning, and that's what creates a good society. That's what creates a quality environment for us to live in our cities, towns, and homes. But where guys run into trouble, where we get into trouble, is when guys just want to win at any cost. They'll throw other people under the bus. They want other people to lose. And a great quote that I always think of is that movie There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis. And he says something like, "There's a hunger in me. I want to succeed, and I want others to fail. I want to see others' downfalls, and I want myself to be uplifted." He was talking about that in that film, which is a fantastic film, by the way. I mean, it's a hard film, but it's a as far as film is concerned, it's a monument of film success, in my opinion, both acting and directing. But he says in that movie, he says there's a fire in me, or there's a hunger in me. I want others to fail, and I want myself to succeed. And he does that. He throws other people under the bus in his ascent to success. And he has a great ascent to success, and it's a wonderful movie because at the very end you see how empty his success is. He has no family, he has no loved ones. All he has was a boy who was actually not his boy, and the boy became deaf through an accident. If you know anything about that movie, go watch it if you haven't watched it. But the film is about an oil guy, Daniel Day-Lewis, who's drilling for oil to get rich, and he gets this boy who's not even his real son, who has an accident and becomes deaf because of an accident at the oil fields or whatever. And basically, that's it. That's his life. He got rich, and there's this boy that he eventually loved, but the boy eventually leaves him because he's just this old, cantankerous, horrible man who's lonely and because all he wanted to do was win. And so it's a great example of that type of personality. And there's a lot of guys out here who really don't deserve a family or don't deserve success because they're not humble, or they don't love others. They don't, you know what I mean? And it's like, you want a guy to be successful who's a good guy. And this used to be a thing. It's just not anymore. It used to be a thing where we celebrated great men and we loved great men. And what is a great man? A great man who is full of love. A great man is somebody who is full of civility towards his fellow human beings. And it used to be a thing where men strived to be this way. Men strived to be, and they wanted, it was something to attain. It was something, it was a goal to be had, to be a quality character, a good human being who was loved by others, not only his family, but by his circle. To have friends and to have loved ones around you, it used to be a thing, and it was replaced by materialism. It was replaced by achievements. It was replaced by success. What people forgot, and what men forgot, is that a man having a family, having a quality loving wife, quality children that he raised morally and with thoughtfulness, and instilled in them values, and they become good human beings. And he had quality friends who they didn't just get together and get drunk, or watch the game, or talk crap like they do now, or go to the bar and go to the strip club, or all this negative, immoral degeneracy. It used to be that men got together and they worked on cars, or they got together and they had barbecues, or they got together and they fished, or they hunted, or they got together and they did some kind of communal thing, whatever it was. And it was about the relationships. It was about the bond. It was about the love there, and that's no longer a thing. It was replaced by materialism. It was replaced by selfishness. It was replaced by lust and greed. It was replaced by social media. It was replaced by guys just being in competition, and living to cut other people down and lift themselves up. We don't have this type of community much anymore, if at all, anywhere. And this is why young men join gangs. A lot of the reason, what people overlook, is it's not just neglect from society. It's the fact that men like to be in groups. Men like to group together, and humans like to group together. We're supposed to, I believe. That's how we're created, to group together in some kind of shared, pure, and I say pure meaning it's not immoral, it's not unrighteous, some kind of communal thing. And a lot of people think that it's church. That's what it's, we're supposed to group together in the worship of God, which is, I believe that's true as well, and I believe that's true foundationally. But it's also just in general, guys getting together and sharing, and humans getting together, men and women. Families used to get together. They used to have cookouts, and where families would come visit another family, and they would sing songs, and they people don't even realize this used to be a thing. People used to go outside and talk to their neighbors. People used to go make friends and go dancing, not just go get drunk, but go dancing to they call them like dance socials and stuff. It used to be a thing. And you would enjoy other people. You would enjoy the moment. You would enjoy the dancing. And there's a type of joy there, a type of satisfaction that you can't get from video games, that you can't get from making more money, or starting another business, or spending 60 hours working hard to get the bag, or you can't get that even clubbing, even though it's close. It's not the same thing. You go out to a club and it's just a bunch of dudes trying to get laid, and it's a bunch of women trying to get free drinks, and women trying to get laid, and women trying to be looked at. That's it. It's sick. It's not what it's a distortion of what it used to be. People used to go out and really enjoy dancing, really enjoy being social, really meet people, and really be cool and down to earth. Now it's all about, like, and when I say cool and down to earth, I mean, like, they used to have fun. This word fun, people used to have that. They used to go out and not just to get drunk, but to have fun, dance, and hello, how you doing? Oh yeah, and just really talk it up. It doesn't happen anymore. Now it's, oh, I got to go out and get drunk, or I got to go out and get wasted, or I got to go out and get high, or I got to go out to get laid, it's all selfish. It's distorted. So I say that to say that we've lost a good part. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. There's concerts, but even concerts are weird. Concerts aren't even the same thing. It's, you know, concerts are still kind of a replacement. You know, you could still kind of get that vibe a little bit, like a shared experience. If it's a good concert, it's kind of a shared experience, or maybe comedy shows a little bit, but it's limited because you're not really interacting with the other people. You're not too much. You're sharing an experience, but you're not. It's not very vocal. You're not talking with them that much. You know, but they used to go have cookouts. They used to make families would be friends with other families, and then they would go over and play guitar and sing and eat food and mingle, and it was a wonderful shared thing. We lost that somewhere. Now it's competition. Now it's selfishness. Now it's this. It's that. This is how we lose our humanity. And I'm speaking to guys because guys are missing this. Guys are missing the point. How many red pill channels out there? How many red pill guys out there are really, really talking about this? Nobody's talking about it because we've forgotten. We don't even know this thing exists. Oh yeah, you used to be able to go out and make friends. I grew up in the '90s. You used to be able to go outside and meet 3 new kids that you never knew even existed, and they're cool and fun. And you go out and you go do stuff with them, and you go ride bikes, and you go somewhere, you go explore. Like that used to be a thing where you would go outside and be able to meet people before the internet, social media. I've heard it recently. Somebody said social media ruins society. It's ruining our country because it's occupying people. It's a fake, phony kind of socialness. It's not a real socialness. You're behind a keyboard. How much do you miss out on that? You miss out on micro expressions. You miss out on vibes. You miss out on facial expressions. You miss out on body language. You miss out on. There are things that you get when you go out and you meet people. There are things that you get that you can't get behind a computer screen. There's certain feelings. There's certain experiences. There's certain moods. There's shared things that you just can't get. And I long for that time. I long for to live in a city or an environment that has that. I lived in a smaller town growing up, and it had that. And then I moved to a bigger city right around 18, 19, 20. And it lacked that. The irony is, the more people you're around, the less you get of a quality shared human experience. People don't care about you as much or at all. Whereas a smaller city, all of a sudden you matter. All of a sudden people are kind. All of a sudden people are genuine and down to earth, and you can start to talk to people. And you can start to enjoy your life as opposed to just being shut off because you're just another face in the crowd. In these big cities, there's almost no human interaction, even though there's constantly humans everywhere. You walk down the street and see 1,000 human beings in a square mile radius or whatever, and you don't talk to any of them. There's no human interaction. Whereas you go to a small city and you walk down the street and there's one person walking down the street, and that person might greet you and say hello and strike up a conversation. And now all of a sudden you know this person, and now all of a sudden you see this person around, and then you start to develop a relationship with this person and a friendship. And then you go over to eat at that person's house, and then you enjoy that person, and then there's mutual share. This is lacking in our society today. And a lot of it was killed by men being in competition with each other for this perception that there's a lack of resources. It's not that there's a lack of resources. It's that there's a lack of the proper understanding of what is quality in life and what is transitory. You can't take money with you. And you know what? You can't take achievements with you either. So I used Kobe Bryant, and I said I respected Kobe Bryant. I respect his discipline and I respect his work ethic. But I would never necessarily, well, I shouldn't say never, but I would not necessarily want his life. Because how much did he have to sacrifice to be that successful, to have that many achievements? How much social life did he have to sacrifice? How much enjoyment in life did he have to sacrifice? You have to factor these things in. And this is why I don't like these self-improvement channels very much, because it's all about success. It's all about putting in the work. It's all this. And there's a time and place for that. But it's sad to see young men taking in this type of content constantly, because they think that, oh, life is just all about money or all about achievement or all about material success or accolades, right? Oh, well, he died, but he's a legend. We'll remember him. Maybe for 100 years you'll remember him, and then what? Then it's over. You won't remember 90, people in 100 years won't remember 99% of the people who live today. That's if our world lasts another 100 years, which I don't believe it will. I think there's going to be the end times and Armageddon before that happens. But let's just say it does, another 100 years. Nobody remembers, very few people remember people from 100, 200 years ago. Yeah, we remember the Babe Ruths and the Wyatt Earps, and we remember the Wild Bill Hitchcock and frickin', Albert Einstein. There's maybe like a dozen people, right? But would you even want to be remembered? It's like, I'll be dead. I won't care if I'll be remembered or not. What matters is the moments you have in life, is the everyday enjoyment you have from day to day. That's what matters. The most fulfilled life is the person who actually experiences life, is the person who actually goes out and experiences things, has good quality relationships, has cool, fun memories, goes out and does stuff. Not just sits in a cubicle trying to make another 10K this month. Not just, oh, I got to make this money and woo woo woo, and I gotta be the top earner and the top achiever, and I got to create this new business. Now, I understand making money so that you can have the freedom to go out and make memories. That makes sense. But you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Is it going to work? Is it worth it sacrificing 5 or 10 years so that 10 years from now, maybe, and I emphasize that word, maybe you can have financial freedom in 10 years. Maybe you'll be rich in 10 years. You don't know necessarily. It might not work. You might spend 10 years trying to work hard on something that doesn't even get off the ground. People have wasted decades. It's just like, well, you could put in all that time and maybe it'll work, or you could just go for a hike right now. Get out and go enjoy something in nature. You know what I mean? Enjoy something small in life. And this is what I think a lot of the root of the competition is. It's because guys are trying to get ahead, and they get inundated and saturated with this self-improvement crap, right? Oh, you're a man. You gotta go be the breadwinner. You gotta do this. It's like, why? Just so you can get some woman who wouldn't be with you if you didn't have the money, who wouldn't be with you if you didn't have the success? Life is all about success. Life is all about achievement. And then you miss out on life. You miss out on what life is really about. So this is the problem that I think does set men back. This competition with other men, this missing the mark, missing the point of life. And it's sad to see. When I was younger, I used to just get annoyed at these guys and just be like, screw off, But now it's actually kind of a tragedy, because you look at these young men and you look at these guys, and even though part of me is like, yeah, well, they deserve it, they're dickheads, or they whatever, I don't care about them because you know they're jerks anyways. Who cares if they waste their life doing this or that? With their false cockiness, their false bravado, their false confidence, their uh, grandiose sense of self-esteem, and their delusions of that they're so great. A prideful person is the top fool. A person who's just full of pride, who thinks they're the greatest, you're just a fool. You don't realize how inadequate you are in so many different ways, right? But I used to feel sorry for, or excuse me, I used to not like them, but now I feel sorry for them. Now I'm like, dang, they're gonna waste their life, and it's sad. Part of me is like, I don't care, that they deserve it, but also, another part of me is like, well, how many people are they gonna affect? How these negative guys, or these negative lives, these kind of black hole lives. How many people around them are they gonna damage? How many people around them are they gonna and it's like, when you live a fulfilled life, when you're truly happy and you're truly content and you're satisfied, that helps other people. That exuberates and is expressed in your life, and it helps other people. It helps other guys. Positivity, spreads. Positivity is like, it's like a warm fire. You can't help but be warmed up by somebody who's very positive, somebody who's very humble, and somebody who has zero, I don't know if I say zero, but very little cockiness, or very little false sense of, so many guys out here are just annoying, because I view guys who are like in competition, who are ambitious, or like, I just view them as annoying. They always want to know, like, oh, what do you do for work, and how much money do you make, and they're like, you're just in competition with everybody. You're out here trying to like size yourself up, and it's like, what are you, 5 years old? Like, there are greater things. It's sad, and maybe it's just me being closer to God. The closer I get to God, the less I care about all this outward crap, all this transitory crap in life. The closer I get to God, the less I care, about, oh, what kind of car you drive, or how much money you make. Like, I don't take pride in any of that crap. I don't care. Are you a positive, kind, good person? That's wonderful. If you are, that's what matters to me. If you're enjoying life, if you're living a satisfied life, if you're satisfied, you're successful to me. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how, oh, you started a business, or you're doing this, or you got a wife and a kid. Like, a lot of times, even today, people, because we live in such a damaged marriage society type deal, that guys who have wives are prideful about it. They think they're better than other guys. Well, I got a wife, or I got kids, I was able to breed. It's like, that's how low your bar is. That's how low, like, you're supposed to do that. That's normal. That's what people are supposed to do. You're supposed to have a loving family. That should be the default condition. But we're so jacked up in our society, we're so messed up in our society, that to have a family is like some kind of monumental achievement in today's day and age. And yes, I'll talk about it from the female perspective, in the sense that, yeah, women have contributed to that damage a lot. Modern feminism, radical feminism, has done incalculable damage to the nuclear family, to the happiness of marriage. It's drove up the divorce statistics by probably 50%, or excuse me, doubled. It used to be, before 1960, I think the divorce percentage was like 29, or I think it was 39%, and it jumped up to upwards of almost 60%. It's almost doubled, man. Well, actually, that's not doubled, but that's a lot. That's a lot. It might have been 29%, but I It might have been. It might have been before 1960, 29%, and then it doubled to 60%. But I'm not